So you're young, you're ambitious, you're broke, and you want to make a lot of money. Maybe you want to obtain the same type of life. You constantly see those guys, myself included, show you all year round on Instagram. A life of true freedom and of true abundance. Or maybe you simply want to pick your own hours and not have to answer to a boss who doesn't care about you. Maybe you want to do great work that fulfills you, that pays you well, and you feel valued for it. You see, I personally went from being dirt broke, and when I say dirt broke, I mean I was sleeping in a basement infested with rats at some point, to staying in some of the best hotels in the world. I've been in a $10,000 car, and I've also been in cars worth more than most people's houses. So if there's one thing that I can say, it's that the people who claim that money doesn't make happiness, most of them are honestly coping. Now, it's true that money won't solve all of your problems. If you lose the person that you love, one of your parents dies, no amount of money in the whole world will fix that loss. Only time can heal those type of wounds. However, with money, 99% of your problems will go away. Like if you just take the time to analyze most of the problems that you have to face in your day-to-day life, could they be fixed with money? Yes, they could. When most couples argue, it usually comes down to money. It's either because they don't want to do chores, because they have to drive the kids to this place or this place. But if they had money, they could have a cleaner, a chauffeur. They can't go on vacation, they're too stressed out. If they had more money, they could. So most of the issues that couples face could be fixed with more money. Now you have to be careful, because when you give people money that they didn't have to earn, it doesn't actually help them as much as you'd think. You have heard before, most lottery winners will go broke within just a few years. And the reason for that is very simple. When you receive so much money, but you didn't have to work hard for it, to sacrifice for it, to earn it, guess what happens? You do not develop into the version of yourself that is capable of handling all that money the smart way. And if you think, oh no, I won't do stupid things with my money, I will use it for the right things. Let's be honest, if you gave most 16-year-olds $1 million, would they spend it wisely? Come on, what's the first thing they would buy? Expensive clothes, an expensive car. Some would get a Rolex. Let's start going and partying, buying expensive jogs. At the club, they would spend thousands of dollars in one night just to impress other people. Now fair enough, some teenagers would actually invest it in, let's say, buying their tuition fee at the university of their dreams, because let's say they really want to become a doctor or a lawyer. Some would use it to start a business, to pay their parents' mortgage, to invest in real estate or in the stock market. But most kids, honestly, they would blow it all. The issue when you're young and broke is that you're typically impatient. Now I get you. I am the most impatient person on planet Earth. Trust me. And all the people that tell you, you have time, you're young, honestly, do not listen to those people. It is terrible advice. The reason being, it invites you to be lazy. If you think, oh, I've got enough time, you'll lay back, relax, and half-ass your way through everything. If you say it's gonna take you 5 years to get to 10K per month, it's gonna take you 5 years. However, if you say, I bet I can do it in 3 years, I'm gonna work as hard as it takes, get up as early as I have to, work extra hours, work on the weekends, you will get there in half that amount of time. This is also known as Parkinson's law. A task will expand so as to fill the time allotted for its completion. That's typically why you can see students, they have an assignment, it's due in a week, but they don't get started until the day before it's due. Like some people, they start the assignment a few hours before they have to hand it in. That is Parkinson's law. The more time you allow yourself, the longer it's gonna take. Not because naturally it takes longer, but because you're not gonna be willing to put in as much hard work and effort. Now, while most people use patience as an excuse to be lazy, you have to be honest to some degree. You'll need to be patient no matter what you do. If you want to build a strong and muscular physique, you want to bench 200 pounds, you're not gonna be able to do that in 1 month, in 2 months, in 3 months. It's gonna take you at least a year of solid hard work, of going to the gym a couple times a week, being very careful about what you eat, eating the right foods in the right quantities, sleeping enough, recovering enough. So of course, it's not gonna happen overnight. You'll need to be patient. But true patience is not just wishing for things to happen and getting started at the last minute. True patience is doing the thing that you need to do and keeping at it for months and for years until you get the outcome that you want. The same is true with business. If you want to build a profitable business to make a lot of money, it's gonna take time. Like, it sickens me to see a lot of people, they've got such unrealistic expectations. They seriously think they are a loser if they make $3,000 per month after 12 months of hard work, because they hear some clowns on the internet tell them they can make 6 figures in 90 days starting from nothing, with no previous skills, no previous work experience. I mean, come on, I know that you want the money right now, you want the success right now, the status right now, you want to be recognized for what you do. I mean, you put in the work every single day, it's difficult. You want people to see it, you want your work to be recognized and valued, and you want to be paid handsomely for it. But trust me when I say, I've never seen someone work harder for 2 years straight and they don't become extremely successful. The reason why most people don't get there is because they quit, because they become too impatient, they stop trusting the process, they start to doubt themselves more and more, so now they take action less and less frequently. It really makes me sad to see how many people quit before they even start, or if they get in the game, they half-ass it, they don't give it their best effort, and then they're honestly surprised when they don't get the outcome that they want. But if you want the best things in life, you will need to do more than what 99% of people will ever be willing to do. You can't expect to want the best and to put in a small effort. Now back then, if you wanted to get rich a few decades ago, so not that long ago really, it would have taken you your entire life. You could work extremely hard at long hours and you were never guaranteed to actually become wealthy. Nowadays, you would need to mess everything up and to be so impatient that you quit at the slightest obstacle to not become wealthy. That's how much more accessible it is nowadays. So just a couple decades ago, if you wanted to get wealthy, to get rich, you would have needed to get hired in a great company, in a booming industry, and you would also have needed to sacrifice decades of your life to slowly climb the corporate ladder. You would learn a lot, hone your craft, put in thousands of hours of practice, and fight against other competitors to make your way to the C-suite, to the best positions that the company could offer. So you would either become CEO or instead use the knowledge, the expertise, and the skills that you've learned and gathered over the years to start your own business. But to be able to do that, you would have needed to know the right people, to have investors, to come up with $100K to $1 million, sometimes even more, to start the business. So least to say, you were taking on a huge amount of risk. Nowadays, as we speak, some 15-year-olds make more money than doctors, and it's obviously not because they followed the traditional path. It's not because they have a high-paying career. It's not because they're doctors, lawyers with decades of work experience. Now you see your teachers, your parents, for the most part, they don't have bad intentions. They're not trying to give you wrong advice to mislead you on purpose. The truth is, they're passing on to you the knowledge that they have, what worked for them. However, the advice that the older generation gives to the new generation is oftentimes outdated because things change, things evolve. I mean, evolution is the most fundamental law of nature. Things never stay as they are. They either become better or decay and die. That's why businesses like Blockbuster had to declare bankruptcy, because they did not adapt to an ever-changing market. Why would people go into physical stores to rent a DVD or cassette when they can just watch Netflix at home? They have a smart TV, a tablet, a laptop. And that's typically why a lot of parents will tell their kids to pursue things like medical school, because even though it might not be your true vocation, it will give you a decent paycheck at the end of the month. So your parents know how harsh the world can be and how difficult it can be to survive in such an environment. So they want the best for you most of the time. They want to make sure you'll have enough to protect yourself, to have a decent life. But the issue is they will trade being great for having more security, or at least the illusion of having more security. Because you've got to realize it's not because you're an employee that you can't be fired, that you're bulletproof. In fact, more and more tech companies, we're talking Google, Meta, Apple, are laying off more and more employees every single year. I mean, last year, over 100,000 people lost their jobs in the tech sector in the US alone. So the issue with this advice is that when you follow the traditional route, when you don't follow what you were meant to do, you'll never achieve greatness. You see, Leonardo da Vinci, known today as one of the best painters, of the best artists that has ever lived. The truth is, he almost fell for that trap. He could have chosen to do like most of the artists of his time, to simply produce works of art, paintings, to cater to the whims of the rich and the powerful. But while that would come with a decent paycheck, it wouldn't have allowed him to reveal his true self, to become one of the greatest. The same thing happened with Darwin. If he never went on that trip, if instead he listened to his father, became a doctor, or worked for the church, he would have never been able to discover so many specimens and come up with his theory of evolution is known for today. The thing is, a lot of people do a little work, they get a little success, and then they become complacent. They start resting on their laurels. They think they've made it, they can afford to rest now. But when you do this, you get completely destroyed by a hungry competitor who is not going to stop. The truth is, if you want to make a lot of money, you'll need to bring a lot of value to other people. That's exactly why I'm making so much free content on YouTube. I'm trying to help as many people as possible to build profitable businesses. And in the process, I get to generate gigantic wealth. Everybody wins. If you can create win-win situations, you will become extremely wealthy. I can guarantee it. I mean, growing up, I saw a lot of people, they would see a supercar driving past and they would say, oh, that dude is an asshole. But how do you know? They automatically assume he's a drug dealer, he's a daddy's boy. They never think, maybe he actually helped humanity, maybe he did something great, maybe he invented the next software. However, if you look at the facts objectively, most of the wealthiest people on the planet, they brought a lot of value to people. They impacted the lives of millions, even billions of people in a positive way. Warren Buffett, to give you an example, helped countless companies to grow, to expand, to increase their profits. That is a very valuable transformation. Bill Gates made computers accessible to most people across the globe. Again, that is extremely valuable. Now, speaking about Warren Buffett, he's famous for saying the following: if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will always be poor. If you were to follow the advice of your friends, of your teachers, of your parents, if you wanted to earn more money, you'd need to work longer hours or to get better qualifications, but you would always be doing the same thing, trading more time for more money. And you can't spend 24 hours a day, 7 days a week working. It's not possible. And even if you could, what kind of life would that be? So when you trade your time for money, very quickly, you're gonna hit a ceiling and you won't be able to break past that point. That is why a lot of business owners, because they do things incorrectly, they can't scale. Their income starts to plateau very quickly. True wealth creation happens when you dissociate the amount of time you spend working with the amount of money that you earn. Most people would love to make more money, but they will stay broke all of their lives because they're not using the right vehicle to generate wealth. To give you an example, if your goal is to build more muscle, yet all you spend your time doing is running, elliptical, you're on the rowing machine, that's great, it's good for your heart, but you won't build a bigger chest, bigger arms, bigger quads. It's not going to help you to build muscle like a bodybuilder would. So I'm sure that you can see how you'll never reach your goal. If you want to build more muscle, if you want to look like a bodybuilder, you'll need to hit the weight room. And the same is true with money. If you want to be free, if you want to make a lot of money, yet you intend to do that through a high-paying career, you are setting yourself up a disappointment. The best possible vehicle to make a lot of money is to start a business, but more precisely an online business. When I was a kid, I heard of the CEOs, the surgeons, making 6 figures a year. Everybody would look up to those people because they made $10,000 per month. And for most people, that's a lot of money. But I saw those people working 70, 80-hour work weeks, even on the weekends replying to colleagues, to emails, attending meetings. Those people are miserable on the inside. They have no freedom. So I asked myself, is this really my only way to become rich, to make a lot of money, to build wealth? Is the only other option really getting lucky, winning the lottery? Do I need to invent something revolutionary to create the next Facebook? Are those really the only ways? And then one day, as I was messing around on the internet, I stumbled upon a YouTube video that changed my life. It was a guy who claimed to make 50 to 70k per month with his online business. But you know what? In that video, I remember it specifically. He showed us the Stripe dashboard, and I could see it. The money was there. He wasn't lying. And he explained, I have an online business. And at the time, it's the first time I was hearing about it, so I was completely shocked. For me, it was completely new, so I set out to learn everything I could on online businesses. I would often stay up very late at night, like my best friend and I would joke about it at the time, because it's here on WhatsApp, I'd be up at like 4 a.m. Like the last time I had opened up WhatsApp was like 4, 5 a.m. when I would need to get up and go to school like before 7 the next day. I would even do that on weekends. I mean, it was a mess, but I learned so much during that time of my life. Because the thing is, I was obsessed. I wanted to figure out how this worked, because I knew if I made that kind of money, I could do anything I wanted. I could travel whenever I wanted, live wherever I wanted, have the car that I want, provide for the people that I love. And like him, I could help other people to do the same, because in a way, it freed me. It freed me from the path that most people follow, which is essentially to become a modern slave. Because the truth is, brick and mortar businesses, they have their pros, but they're not suited for beginners. To start one of those businesses, a gym, a hair salon, a spa, you would need to come up with a lot of startup capital, 100k, 300k, $1 million. And let's say you decided to open up a gym, a restaurant, before the lockdowns hit all over the world. Now what would you do? Everyone was stuck at home, so naturally on social media, the only ones who were making actual money, it was the pharmaceutical companies and the people who had online businesses. In the US alone, over 700,000 small businesses had to shut down their doors during the lockdowns. Yet, online businesses saw more and more growth. They printed more cash than ever before. Now I know that as a beginner, it can be extremely confusing to know which business to start, which advice to follow, who to listen to. That's why I recorded a free guide in which I analyze every popular online business model. Together we take a look at the pros, at the cons, we really go in depth so you can figure out which one is the best business to start for you. And I'm also going to share with you, for completely free, the 3-step process that you can use to get your first customers as quickly as possible. It's the first link in the description if you want to learn more about it. Now with that said, as always, what are you waiting for? It's time to get to work.